Hey everybody, this is your video for week 2 of Advent Conspiracy, where we're trying to reframe the holidays. We've been doing this for several years. How do we think differently when the culture puts so much pressure on us to think in a certain way about the holidays? We want to pivot to thinking about it a different way. And this week, we want to think about spending less. Yesterday in the sermon, we talked about simplicity as a practice to spend less. I also want to just reintroduce the idea of gratitude as intrinsic to this. We'd suggest sometime this week, before Thanksgiving, maybe not around the dinner table, maybe 30 minutes in the morning, you just sit down with your notebook or your journal and just think about God's goodness and list 5 or 6 things that you are really grateful to. What that does is when you get in touch with what you're really thankful for, it flushes out this kind of anxiety about need, and you really ground your contentment. So that's the first idea we would give you for spending less. Em?
Next, we want to think about the gifts that we're giving for Christmas this year. Think about how the gifts that you're giving can reflect your values rather than trying to have an abundance of cheap items from Amazon. So you could think about purchasing items secondhand. I can tell you the Goodwills around here are awesome from personal experience. Second, you could think about supporting companies that hold your same values. So you might think about fair trade or things that are maybe more eco-friendly, whatever that might be for you. And then another thing you can think about is homemade gifts, baking, crafting. Think about the skills that you have and how you can share that with your friends and family this season. And then something you can think about doing with your kids is going back to this idea of gratitude. Maybe you guys before Christmas go through all of their toys, books, games, and think about what they don't use anymore and take them to the thrift store. But instead of framing this as we have to make more room for the toys that you're gonna get for Christmas, think about how we can teach our kids how God has already provided more than we need, and that we can then give these things to other people who might need them more than us.
These are some practical ideas. I think probably if you sat down and thought about what would spending less look like for our family, you'll come up with your own set of ideas. But let's think together and enter this season with this frame in mind. Grace and peace to you.